Hey everyone, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home, and I'm back today with another 4K review. This one's a little bit delayed. I've been meaning to get to it, but today we're going to be checking out the new release from Paramount of the Addams Family on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. So I'll be diving into this release and talking about the visual upgrade, audio differences, packaging, special features, and then ultimately whether or not this one's worth upgrading for your collection. If you like 4K reviews like this, Blu-ray content, collecting, movie collecting, physical media, home theater, any of that stuff, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that, and make sure your notifications are on so you can stay up to date and see all of the latest videos. Now, with that being said, let's get right into this review. So the Addams Family is presented here with a new 4K restoration that was supervised by director Barry Sonnenfeld. So he worked a long time on this release. He really loves this movie, loves the way that it came out, takes a lot of pride in the fact that it was successful, and he did a ton of work to make sure that this was the best 4K presentation that could possibly be done. And there's some really interesting backstory on the Addams Family and sort of how Paramount gave up on it back in the early 90s, thought it would be a total flop, and it ended up turning into a big box office success. And one of the cool things is that Paramount back in 1991 made the director here, Barry Sonnenfeld, edit out a major dance scene, the Mamushka dance scene, which is only about 2 minutes in the edited theatrical version. They have the full extended version of that here on the unrated edition of the movie. So you get both theatrical and unrated, and it's kind of cool to just see the director finally get to have his entire vision put forward, get the chance to do a great 4K restoration and put it out for fans of this series. So visually, I have to say this is one of the most impressive discs of 2021 and probably one of the most impressive discs on the 4K format, period. This restoration is absolutely incredible. And this was a 35mm source, so you can definitely go back and see that they did a full 4K scan here. They did a full restoration. And the Blu-ray release of this was already very, very good. It's a great Blu-ray, and you'll see that in some of the screenshots I put up, how that Blu-ray really does hold up. But this 4K release just takes it to the next level. It is one of the most finely detailed, well-balanced, just best looking 4K transfers that I've ever seen. So there's definitely a nice uptick in quality and detail with the new 4K scan and that 4K resolution. You're going to notice that some of the scenes on the Blu-ray were actually fairly grainy and a little bit distracting, and this 4K really takes it to the next level. I mean, it almost looks, dare I say, digitally shot in some scenes. Like, there's definitely still grain, right? And that's good. We don't want to see any grain scrubbed, but it's so clean and it's so nicely done, and the source must have been in great condition because this looks like it could have been shot yesterday. I mean, it's a really, really beautiful 4K visual. Now, the other thing that this adds is HDR and Dolby Vision HDR, although I will say there isn't a ton of difference in the color grading here, which is kind of nice because I thought the way the Blu-ray looked was already pretty good. So they didn't drastically change much. You'll see that a lot of the coloring and the grading is very similar, not a whole lot of change. So one of the big things with the HDR and Dolby Vision HDR in this release is really the depth of the color and the sort of 3D photorealism that this really adds to your TV screen, which is really great. It is so much more impressive and textured than the Blu-ray release, where Blu-ray can be a little flat sometimes. This really takes the next step. One key area to look for is around Uncle Fester's eyes, right? Christopher Lloyd has the makeup done. He's got all this eyeshadow. And on the Blu-ray, you kind of lose that texture. And it just kind of looks like a bunch of a big black spot around his eye, almost like he got punched in the face, right? Just a black eye. On the 4K, you really see the expanded depth and a little bit more of that texture and the differences in the color, that it's almost a little bit purplish gray, and it adds so much more depth to his face, the sunken eyes. Like, it just is really, really impressive. So those are going to be your key areas to look for, is just how much more depth in that expanded color range that HDR can give you, how much that adds to the picture. It's not brightness, contrast, crazy highlights. It's not like anything's over the top here or completely redone in terms of color grading. It's a very natural color grade. It stays in line with the director's original vision, but it just looks so much better when you get that depth of HDR. So overall, this is an absolutely stunning 4K transfer, easily going to make a top 10 list for 2021 and could probably be put into consideration for a top 10 list of all time for 4K. It's really that good. I'd give the visuals a solid 5 out of 5. It's a beautiful transfer, a really nice upgrade over Blu-ray, really nuanced use of the HDR and Dolby Vision, which I really appreciate. And you can tell that there was a lot of time and effort put into this to make sure it was perfect, and they nailed it. Now on the audio side of things, we have a DTS HD 5.1 master audio track, which is the same track that was available on the Blu-ray. And I've poked around online. I couldn't find any information that says that this is a different audio track, but when you listen to them head to head, again, maybe placebo effect in my mind because I think the movie looks so much better, but I think this is a different audio track. This one sounds a lot punchier. It's a lot more active with the surrounds. It's louder. It's a lot more engaging. I thought the previous track was a little subtle and a little dull in some places, and this one really packs a punch. So I don't know, they must have played with the levels or something. It's not a drastically different mix, but there's definitely an extra punchiness to this one. And so it feels like maybe they went back and just did some tweaking, played with some of the levels, expanded the sound space a little bit. It makes sense considering how much work they did in the visuals that they would tweak the audio a bit as well. But overall, still a very solid 5.1 track. No Atmos, no 7.1, but you know, for an older movie like this, again, sometimes Atmos can be a little bit gimmicky because this movie, as I read up on it, was a 4-channel soundtrack from what I read. So, you know, you're really only expanding from 4 to 5, and Atmos, you know, doesn't really add that much for what was an original 4-channel track. Probably not. So the 5.1 is very, very good. Overall, audio visual wise, this is an absolutely amazing, amazing transfer, partnered with a very, very good audio track, and I think AV wise it's a must-have for your 4K collection. Now the packaging on this is fairly basic from Paramount. You've got your slipcover with the family on the cover, you've got your same artwork on the inside, and then on the inside there would be a digital copy in just the regular black 4K disc, no artwork. Also with more Mamushka right on the cover, which is kind of cool. But the special features for this include that introduction to the more Mamushka version by director Barry Sonnenfeld. So he comes in here, and if you play that unrated version with the extended dance scene, you get a little introduction from him. There's also a filmmaker focus with director Barry Sonnenfeld talking about the Addams Family, and then there is an archival featurette with some behind the scenes stuff. So it's a little bit limited. It's not going to give you Criterion or Arrow Video level of special features, but just to have that full director's vision, the unrated edition, some of his looking back on the movie as well is really interesting because, like I said, Paramount did not think this would be a success. So there's some decent special features all in the 4K disc because there is no Blu-ray included here, so all in one package and overall decent. So even though this isn't the craziest release in terms of special features, packaging, all that stuff, it is crazy good on the audio visual side, and that's why most of you buy these discs anyway. So I would highly, highly recommend upgrading. An excellent 4K transfer here, a nice improvement over what was already a great Blu-ray, very solid audio. Overall, it's a must-have for your collection. It's gonna be one of your nicest upgrades, and I think you guys will love it. So props to director Barry Sonnenfeld on his work and the clear time and effort that went into this. It was well worth it. This is the best the movie has ever looked and probably ever will look, and that's the reason that you want to add this to your collection. I will leave a link to the Amazon listing for this down in the description. If you use that link, that helps support my channel, so I appreciate that. So yeah, other than that, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I was really excited to get this out. Sorry for the delay on it. Had to get some other titles done first, but wanted to make sure you guys all knew about this one because it is so good that I couldn't just pass it by and sleep on it. It needed to be told how great a job that the director and Paramount did here. So props to them, huge 2 thumbs up. So make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications on and like this video so others will see it and learn about this release, because I think it's gone a little under the radar based on the timing of its release. But also make sure you follow me on social media. All the links are down in the description, and check out the description for other ways you can help support my channel. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy out there, and I'll talk to you all soon.